Good evening, everyone. This is Mr. Erlewine, principal of Staten Island Technical High School, and I'm joined this evening by our college guidance counselor, Ms. Ellen Devine. I want to welcome the class of 2025 to the sophomore year college information night and session. And I welcome all of our parents and caregivers and our students who are joining us here tonight. If you're joining us live, we thank you for spending this next hour with us. And for those of you who are watching the replay of this, I hope this is an informative an opportunity for you to get the information that you need as sophomores here at Staten Island Tech. So I hope the spring term or the approaching spring season and second term of school is going well. As you know, this part of the process and this opportunity for us to come together is our way of continuing to make sure our families are in the know and informed as early as humanly possible in terms of the college admissions process, giving you small amounts of this information over time. So by the time you're in the senior year, you're not overwhelmed. Hopefully, if you've been following my email messages and the information I've been putting out recently, courtesy and thanks to the Staten Island Technical High School PTA, the PTA has purchased for every single student at Staten Island Tech the Prep Scholar Program. The Prep Scholar Program is intended to do two things. Our 9th and 10th grade students have been each October, each January, each May taking a screener assessment, which has been used to, it is, in a sense, it's supposed to give us an idea where your child and how well your child is doing from a math and ELA standpoint. In reality, it hasn't really been successful at doing that. So we replaced it with Prep Scholar, which does two things. It'll continue to give us information about how your child is doing from a math and ELA and a writing standpoint. But more so, it can be used by your child and will be used by us at pivotal times during the school year, starting in the 9th grade, for your child to start preparing for the PSAT, the SAT, or the ACT. So it literally, Prep Scholar literally is a tool you can start using now, which is why we rolled it out for the 10th graders and the 11th graders, because on March 1st, our 10th graders will be taking the PSAT. On March 1st, the 11th graders will be taking the SAT, both which are free. And to get a head start and to get an idea where your strengths are, students, and where you need to do some extra work, the Prep Scholar platform can do that. It has the built-in lessons and diagnostic tool. It only literally takes an hour for you to do the diagnostic tool to initiate the process of having math and ELA assignments given to you. And then your parents, caregivers can also log on and get an update. Actually, they get an email update on how well you're doing and what your progress is. So I hope that all of our families in the 10th and the 11th grade who have gotten this enrollment information take advantage of it and log on. And as we approach the month of May, we will be doing our first school-wide assessment using Prep Scholar for the same purpose, is to track how you're doing and to continue to showcase and prepare you for these important exams that are going to come down the road soon enough. So with that being said, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Devine, who's going to start our presentation for this evening. Good evening, Ms. Devine.
Hello, Mr. Erlewine, and thank you for that introduction, and welcome to families and students to this very informative session that we're going to have tonight. So if we can go to the next slide. Okay, so even though you're only in the 10th grade, before you know it, you're going to be thinking, well, you're probably already thinking about college, but you're going to be actually in the throes of making some big decisions. So right here, right now, these are the things that I hope that you will take to heart and start utilizing right now in sophomore year. So first, start a conversation and make with your parents and guardians about what your plans are. Get into the habit of checking the Sophomore Google Classroom for important information. If you have not already done that, there's a wealth of information that is posted there. As you move up into junior and senior year, much more information. But right now, when there's opportunities that are applicable to your grade level, you'll see that they're on that classroom. So just get in the habit of checking. I want you to start really keeping track of the things that you're doing in school and outside of school, all your activities, your experiences, whatever your accomplishments have been. It's going to be very necessary for when you're preparing your resume. And even though right now you think to yourself, perhaps, I'm not going to forget this, by the time you get to junior and senior year, whatever you did freshman and sophomore year is a distant memory. And so if you keep track of it now and just get in the habit of doing that as well, it'll be very helpful when we ask you to create that resume. You'll have a template. A resume is really a live document. Even as you finish college and get into career, it's something that always has to be in some kind of template form that you're going to add to. So you're developing that right now in the beginning stages of your preparing for college down the road. So the purpose of all these activities and experiences that you're involving yourself in is to decide what you really like, what you don't like. It's not just about the classes that you take. It's in all areas of life. If you find that, find out what you don't like is just as important as what you do like. You don't want to waste time on things that at the end of the day really is not your cup of tea. So this is the time to start exploring, trying different things. There's so many programs, and some of them are virtual, some of them are in person. There are things that the colleges offer to all high school students. It's just endless, the amount of opportunities that are available. And I know some of you may have also applied for the study abroad program with the CIE program. And that's, it's a very unique kind of opportunity. And certainly something that if you're not doing it this year, maybe you'll think about it, for the coming year. Okay, so summertime back in the day was about, just relaxing from a grueling kind of a school year. But those days are gone. Now the expectation is that the summer is your opportunity to explore. So perhaps it's a job, perhaps it's an internship, a summer program. All these things are to help you become college and career ready, is the language that everyone is buzzing about nowadays. So again, just as I said earlier, whatever you learn from those opportunities are going to be helpful to you as you continue to try to figure out exactly what you might want to do as you continue into college and career. Don't wait for your guidance counselor to call you in to talk about, your course selection or whatever it is they may call you in to talk about. They're there to discuss all kinds of things. So if you have something on your mind, you're not really sure whether or not it's a good idea for your particular situation, you talk it through with your guidance counselor. They'd be more than happy to hear what you're thinking about, what you're exploring. Talk to your teachers. Many of you probably already are doing that. Ask them, for suggestions and advice and different things. If you know anyone who's graduated recently from college, or someone in the family or friends, ask them about their experiences and what was helpful to them in their process. And all along the way, you're going to keep your eyes open for possible careers, things that are interesting to you. If you do things that you care about, you're more inclined to do them, and you'll do a better job of it, rather than what is going to earn you the highest salary or what someone else has in mind for you. It's really a journey that you're on, and this is early stages of that journey. So there are also the online career assessment tests that you can take. And if right now we're in the middle of a College Now class, there's 3 of them actually going on simultaneously to help students. It's mostly juniors, but there are some sophomores too, who are taking the class, and we just did a career exploration, and it was very interesting. Some of the students felt like it assessed them well, and they agreed with the results. Other people felt like, maybe not. But at least it's something that gets the mind started to think about these things and explore the possibilities, because they're really, for you all, they're limitless. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is continuing. Anyone who gets to know me knows that once you start me, I have lots of things to say. So you take what you like and you're going to leave the rest of it behind. So when you do meet with your counselor to talk about what you're going to take in junior year, make sure that if you have a thought about what you might be looking to study down the road, that the choices that you're making for junior year are in alignment with those future plans that you have. If you don't know, then just understand that one of the things that colleges universally ask the counselor on our, one of the reports that we have to provide for you is how rigorous is the course load of this student. So the course load that they're looking at is from freshman year forward. So we require all freshmen and sophomore to take the AP history. So you're already in a place of rigor because you're taking that. Hopefully it's not too painful, but you're taking it. And then as you move into junior year, you see how many more things are open to you. It's never a good idea to overload yourself. Find the balance with what you're able to handle comfortably that still challenges you and leaves you time to do all these other things that I'm suggesting that you do. Important. It's important to keep your academics in line, learn those skills that are necessary to keep your grades up, and manage your time. If you can learn to manage your time, there's so much more that you're able to accomplish, because procrastination is such a thief. It just creates this illusion that we have more time than we do. So, so you're going to move forward thinking about what your goals are and fine tune your plans. If you know where you might want to attend college, it's very helpful. There are over 4,000 colleges in the United States. Some of our students choose to apply to schools abroad, so that even gives you more choices. It's very overwhelming. So if you can think about it, and this is back to my first statement of have conversations with your parents and your guardians and those closest to you about what you're thinking, so that they can give you some feedback. What are the parameters for them? Are they okay with you going to California to college? Would they prefer you stay close by? When you think of, often students think that, this, and it's wonderful to be away at school and the independence is fabulous. However, it's not an easy thing to do. So to really talk that through and have a plan. So if you start feeling overwhelmed or homesick or whatever, that there's some plan in play that you can get support for yourself. So you have to have these conversations, and the sooner you start them, the better off that you will be. And the easier it will be for you to just organically create a list of colleges that are interesting to you, that you not only have heard of, that there's more than 10 colleges. I say this all the time. There are more than 10 colleges that students apply to. So yes, there are those top schools that many students, I can pretty much guess the schools that are going to appear on their list. But often I'm pleasantly surprised by the scope that some of our students have in opening their minds and exploring colleges that are not the top 10. And they're wonderful schools. The United States is chock full of wonderful schools. New York State is full of wonderful schools. So there's no shortage of places to land. One of the positives of the pandemic has been that the colleges really stepped up their game when it comes to their virtual reality tours and stuff. they've always had some way that you could view the college from their website, but now it's at a whole nother level, and they're excellent. Often they will have tours that also include information sessions so that you can, log in and ask questions, and it's really almost like being there. And not everyone can put their foot on a campus. Sometimes, especially if you're looking at schools, across the country, you may not be able to get there. But with these virtual tours and all the access that there is now to information, you can learn a lot about a school just by looking at their websites and their social media. I mean, everybody's all over the place. Every social media platform there is, the college that you're thinking about is there. And they're putting out even TikTok, which is so amazing to me that they're using that platform as well to advertise their school. It's very interesting. So, and they like when you follow them on social media. It shows that you're interested in them. And you start to get the feel for what college is really all about. Right now, unless you have siblings who are in college, it could really be, like a mystery. What is this really all about? So it's a great way to have access if you're not able to literally go on a trip to visit these schools. And again, back to the summer programs, it's a good opportunity to explore. You might think that you always wanted to do research or medicine or engineering, architecture, whatever it is. And there's a summer program for that. And again, many of them are posted. We just posted a few very interesting programs, one at Cooper Union, an art intensive, and one at Mount Sinai for research in medicine and health sciences. So just to name a few, every day I have an email box filled with opportunities, and I try my best to see what applies to our population and get the information out in as many ways as we can. Okay, next slide, please. So the college application is a daunting application, and it's all encompassing. So it's a combination of things, and all of it has its importance, and it's difficult to say, honestly, exactly how much importance any one aspect of this has, but it's all important at the end of the day. So the GPA, that's your cumulative average from freshman year forward, is what they're looking at, and all the way till the end of junior year. So the June transcript of junior year is the document that the colleges are going to see initially while they're making their decision about any student. That gets sent as part of your application package, along with a copy of the classes that you've taken for senior year. So all of this, I'm just going to go over this lightly because you're going to be so tired of hearing me say these things, because each year, next year, you're going to be hearing from me twice at least, and then you're going to sit with me because I talk to every junior one-on-one. So this is like the quick version, the cliff notes, as they say. So there are ways to apply. So you have early decision, early action, and that just means, it's literally what it says. It's early, and you're going to be doing your applications maybe as early as October 15th for some schools, and November 1st, when Macaulay is currently November 16th, although things change regularly. So I'll get more detail with that as you move closer to that. So SATs or ACTs are still kind of a thing. Certain schools are back to wanting them. They're no longer optional. And MIT comes to mind always because they only went optional for 1 year, whereas many other schools were optional. They projected out will be optional to 2023, and now they pushed off, well, at least through 2024, and they're weighing it out, and it's so they haven't come to a full decision on that. MIT, on the other hand, has fully invested in the SAT again. So if that's a school that you're interested in, understand that that's a serious part of their application. Everyone wants to know what kind of activities you're involved in outside of the school day. It doesn't have to be many things. What is really impactful is when you take 3 or 4 activities that you care about and that you really devote yourself to over time is much more impactful than having 15 different activities that you've gone in and out of once or twice, or one year you did it, then you stopped doing it. It's that consistency over time is what makes a difference for a college. And, it's a better use of your own time to thoughtfully decide how you want to spend your time. You never get your time back. So you don't want to waste it. You want to use it mindfully. And doing things that you enjoy means that you will continue and you will be an active participant and potentially in a leadership position by the time you get to junior and senior year. So it's a better call to think about what you enjoy. It does not have to align with what you want to study. It's okay if it does, but it does not have to. It should be something, I like to say, if it makes your heart sing, that's where you go. You do that. It'll be a pleasure to do. It'll be something that you look forward to, and a break from the academics that you're involved in all day. So the other parts of the application are the essay. So mostly we use Common App. There are a few other avenues, but Common App is the most common and popular method to apply, except for MIT, who does not use Common App. They're school specific. So there's an essay that goes to the Common Application. And then for every college that you apply to, say you've chosen 12 schools that you're going to apply to. Each one of those schools will ask you for a supplemental essay, at least one. And some of them will ask you for multiple, depending on the school and what they require. This is like an open market kind of a system, so there's no regulation with how each school does what they do. So again, back to the importance of coming up with the list so you can start understanding what the schools that you are interested in are asking for. Teacher recommendations are part of the process too. And we always recommend, a teacher from the humanities and a teacher from STEM, just to give a well-rounded perspective and understand that every student gets a counselor letter. And it can, the counselor letter speaks to your character, which is reflected in, your activities and the things that you have been doing outside of academics, because they're going to have the academic information. They want to know the other side. So that's what the counselor letter is about. And all that comes together to paint a picture of who you are, what they can expect from you, and they'll decide whether or not you're a fit for their particular institution. So all of those things deserve your full attention and your best efforts. Next slide, please. Okay. So of course, colleges are looking for students, and parents ask me this often, how they can have their child stand out. So it's really, and I'm hoping that there is a good number of students on here, and parents too, and guardians. I hope you're all here. But it's an inside job, as they say. The student needs to be the one that decides what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And that's something that can't be really given to them. it's part of what comes as a result of all that exploration that I'm suggesting with the programs and the internships and the, receiving mentoring from teachers and counselors and all that stuff helps you understand what you love and what can make you really stand out to a college. So some of the things that our kids have done through the years, to come up with, well, in most recent history, during the pandemic, it was quite impressive how some of our kids really just were able to find ways to be involved, start little businesses, 501c3s, really impressive things that they did in the pandemic. And most of it was to either help them there was a group of students who were involved with students at Harvard in writing research papers. And so they got to co-author on papers and things like that. It's quite unusual. Unless you're in SERP, then you might be in SERP, and I would suggest you stay, because it really helps you to stand out, because it's giving you this unique opportunity to work with a professor and potentially, help write a paper. If the professor's working on a paper and they want you to, they're impressed with you, they may ask you to do work on that with them. So starting clubs, we have, I don't know how many clubs now, but better than 70 different clubs, cultural clubs, sports clubs, intellectual clubs, service clubs, anything. If we don't have it and you think of it, you can go speak to Mr. Terusa and see what's required to, create a charter and fight for your right to start the club. So as long as it's different than something that we already have, that's a good thing to do. But honestly, it's really this bigger picture of who you are. What's the content of your character? Do you wait to be directed, or do you take initiative? Are you a leader, or are you a follower? Are you able to handle responsibility and follow through? And is there a sense of dedication to what it is that you're doing? And those are all not questions to answer me tonight, but to think about within yourself. And what, if anything, you can change or want to change or want to build on. We all have the ability to do all these things, but whether or not we act on them is a whole nother story. So just consider what skill set that you have. What are you looking to improve? What do you have to do for that to happen? And I'm talking to the students. I'm not talking to the parents, because the students need to do these things. They need to be the ones that think that this is a great idea and they're passionate about it. And then it'll make all the other things fall easily into place, because it was something that came from them. And of course, they need the love and support of the family around them always in all their activities. So we depend on you to do that as well. Next slide, please. Okay. So just a little sneak peek into what is ahead of you in this whole, I gave you a whole to-do stuff that I wanted you to do currently. And this is kind of adding on to that list to keep you in alignment with what's coming up in the future. So to the best of your personal ability, keep your grades up. So if that means asking for help, we have some fabulous upperclassmen who do tutoring at the drop of a hat. All you have to do is ask. Talk to your counselor. Say, you know what? Or Miss Cavalier is a fabulous resource in the library. She often will help match up with tutoring. Your teachers are available. So it's again, taking that initiative to ask for help when you need it. And we all need, at some point, help. Anytime I'm doing something like this, if not for my secretary, who is much better at organizational, administrative things, I don't know where I would be. And I have no problem saying that and relying upon her to help me out. And so we all, forever, we're relying on the people around us to always support us and guide us in the way that we're trying to go. So keep the grades up, ask for help. Understand that it's, I feel like our students are pretty well educated on this, but there has been, chatter that I've heard in the past about students believing that junior year is the year. It's the final year, but it's not the year. It starts in freshman year. And, everyone is given what I call grace in freshman year. It's a transition year. Not everybody seamlessly comes into high school. Sometimes there's some bumps in the road. So that's the year for that to occur and for everyone to understand that, including the colleges. And so it becomes a responsibility of the student that doesn't continue, that they get the help that they need. They start honing those skills. They put procrastination to the side and they manage their time and all those wonderful skills that we talk about all the time. And you will just easily be successful because you are all very bright. That's why you're here. You're here because you're intelligent enough to do well. And, we're going to challenge you every step of the way. So, and also help and support you every step of the way. So keep the GPA in mind, not obsessively, but keep it in mind that it's part of the picture. And so you want to pick your classes wisely for next year and understand that from freshman year forward is all part of the college process. Continue to develop your interests, be involved throughout high school. So if you haven't gotten involved in things as of yet, now's the time. Don't let any more time go by without getting involved. By the time you're in junior year and you're explaining to me why there's nothing on your resume and you say, what can I do? I'm going to say there's not really a lot you can do. You can't change what is. So if you haven't done anything now, you're only a sophomore, start doing things. Start thinking about what you want to do. Think about the summer, all these things. And again, I can't stress your counselor. Your counselor is a gold mine. Just go and talk with them and ask them for suggestions and, all of that. That's what we do. So it's an ongoing process. And truthfully, it's a good practice because if you're a lifelong learner, you're always going to be successful. And you'll be that kind of person that gets elevated and has opportunities presented to them because everyone knows that you are someone who is always learning. You're not just learning while you're in school, but you are just, that's the way that you are wired, that you're always looking to learn something new and to be of service to the school, outside of the school, within your family. If you belong to a religious entity of some kind, be involved with that. There's so much work to be done on a volunteer basis that there's no shortage of opportunities to be of help and service to others. So this is my least favorite, and juniors and seniors know this is my least favorite, is the test taking. So I'll tell you right now, in sophomore year, it's way too early to be worrying about taking the SAT. Now, prepping through this Prep Scholar program is a different story. But taking the exam this is not the time. Junior year in the spring is the time. Now is for all these other things I'm talking about, that you are developing your interest and your skill set and your grades and your speaking abilities and all that wonderful stuff, not taking an SAT. So, and I say that constantly, that's not where you put your valuable time into that. Prepping, I think this Prep Scholar, some of the juniors who already have already done the assessment and they're kind of playing around with it already, they say that it's valuable. So I think for you, valuable, but not taking the test. It's a optional for the most part, although most of our kids take it anyway and they submit it anyway. But there's an unspoken rule that if you take more than 3 SATs in a lifetime, then the colleges start to wonder, what is that about? And you don't want to bring any kind of negative attention to yourself when it comes to colleges. You want them to see you in the best light possible. So there's time enough for the literal taking of the test. That's junior year. And you could even take it this in August before, a second time before senior year begins. They give it in October, November, December. They give it constantly. There's plenty of opportunities to take it, and 3 is the magic number. So just tuck that in the back of your head and understands that taking it more is not going to make you better. Preparing will be helpful. Doing well in your classes is a really painless way to prepare for the SAT because you are learning for the class and it's helping you prepare for your SAT. So all of that kind of work is more beneficial than sitting and taking that exam in your sophomore year. So it's a free country. You get to do what you want, but my professional opinion is to wait. It'll be a good choice to make. Next slide, please. Okay. So because it's such a daunting process, and as you go along, you might come upon a school and be interested in it and then forget because you're busy doing a million other things. So it's really important to create some kind of file. And I don't care if it's a paper file or if it's a database that you create, in an Excel spreadsheet, but somewhere where you put in all your college information that you're finding. So information about what the school has to offer, their admissions process, if you visited them, what impressed you, along with those things we talked about earlier. If you have all your activities, your resume material also should be in there. So it's all in one place. And you're not, I can't tell you how many permanent records we give to students, and within days, somebody is coming asking for a copy of their permanent record. So because it's not put in a place, a safe place, it gets lost. So all of this information needs to be, create yourself something, either a paper file or a electronic file. So as you're researching colleges, that's what you're going to do. You're going to take that information and you're going to transfer it to this file. So you can search using Big Future on College Board, and they give random scholarships to anybody who uses Big Future. It's like a $500 random scholarship. So if that's an incentive, not now, but next year, to go on there and search for colleges, that's fine. You can also use Naviance. There's a match that you can make a profile, and it will match you just the same way as College Board. What's nice about Naviance, although I have to make sure that everything is up to date, they can give you like the statistics of how many students from our school have applied and were offered seats, or and what their general scores were. So it's interesting to have that information to reference. So again, exploring colleges, the sooner that you do it, the more you'll cover. There's a lot of schools in New York City that you live right here. You can do it pretty easily. I loved when my children were looking for colleges. We planned trips, and we would go away for weekends and plan to visit 3 or 4 colleges in a weekend in a similar area, and it was wonderful. I mean, we had this experience of being together, which is unusual, and with adolescents and their parents, and having conversations and exploring this whole process. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think it's exciting. And I understand also that not everybody can do that. If you can, fabulous. If not, there's virtual tours for every possible college that you could think of. So, and in the back of your head, keep in mind, what do I want to study? So if you get all the way to junior and senior year and you still don't really know what you want to study, it's perfectly fine. But now you have to think of a college like a liberal arts college that's going to give you a broad experience and some options. So when you do know what you want to study, things will be available to you. So if you go into a school that, excuse me, maybe has an engineering focus, and quickly you find out that's not it for you, then you're going to have to probably transfer out because they may not have enough options for you. Usually by sophomore year, the end of sophomore year in college, they asking you have to declare a major. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to graduate. And in 4 years, you'll be behind because the credits, everything is very precise. So they really insist upon a decision by then. If you didn't come in with a decision, you have to make one by then. So there's a lot of things to keep in mind. And think about whether or not you want to, do one of those online career tests, just to get an idea of the many different skills that you have. How does that translate into a career? So there's a lot of interesting things that can come out of that. All right, next slide, please. Any questions along the way? I'm just talking and talking here. Do you have any questions, Ms. Kirschbaum?
No, not presently.
Okay, good. All right. So now, again, I'm going to try to be brief with this because this is it's not for now. It's thinking towards the future. And a lot of this is repetitive because the more times they say it, sooner or later it's going to stick. So that's my theory. I just keep saying it. Junior year is technically the beginning of the process. It's going to be a very busy year. Students, because maybe they were a little limited with the APs they could take in sophomore year. So now they're taking however many, maybe they're taking 2 or 3, or I think you can take probably 4 maybe, but you're taking a lot. You're taking double periods, whatever it is that you're doing. Some of you will be have opted into this AP Calculus BC as a junior. It's only 34 seats, so it's a small group, but that's normally a senior class. So to have that in junior year, that's why there's only 34 seats. It's a particular student who is going to be able to handle that, with success. We don't ever want to set anybody up for failure. So it's a small group, but if they're doing that, and they're also in CERP, and they're also taking, an AP Science, and they're taking AP English, it starts to be a busy time. And I'm going to start pestering you about meeting with me to talk about what do you think for college. So if you are already working on those kind of things now, by the time I'm speaking to, I started in January meeting with the current juniors, and there's 365 of them. So it's going to take me, I don't know, I'm hoping to be done by May because we have those breaks that are kind of going to slow me down. And it's wonderful. It's my favorite part of the job is hearing what people are thinking about and what they are hoping to do and exploring. So I'm hoping that this conversation we're having tonight is going to get you all excited to start doing some of that exploration in sophomore year. So by the time I'm talking to you in the next January, you're going to say, well, I did all of this work and I found all this information and this is what I'm thinking. And I really feel like it's going to be a good match. So that'll make all the busyness a little easier on you because you don't have to do the research. You're doing it now. Maybe you'll do a little more. Maybe you'll, broaden your base a little, but you'll be in the mode of doing it. You'll understand how to do it, and it will be it'll be helpful because junior year is very busy. And as I said in the very beginning, that's the transcript that goes to show the caliber of student you are in that moment in time, from freshman year up to the end of junior year. That's what they see. So that's what's in everyone's mind. And you're working towards ending junior year on the best note possible for you. So do the best that you can to have, a strong record and either maintain or improve your average. That will be the time where we're going to be talking about, as I said, see it says spring of junior year for SATs and or ACTs. That's the time. And if the city continues as they have, offering, to pay for a free one in the spring, then that's a great baseline. And you will have preps with Prep Scholar all along the way. So you'll be in fabulous condition to take that exam. And it's always my wish that people take it once and call it a day. And sometimes that works. I've seen students take it once and get outstanding scores. They just are good test takers, or I don't know, something. But it's not that way for everyone. So some people might take it 2 times. And as I said 3 is it. Keep in mind that when a college says that they're test optional, it's not like a trick that they're trying to, you're not going to submit it and then they're going to hold it against you. If they're test optional, they're test optional. That's it. So if you submit your scores, it's by choice. And you can certainly do that. And if you want to chat with me about whether it's a good idea, we can do that. Most students just feel they work so hard that they want to submit them no matter what. And so, whatever. And that's our students. Around the country, 50% of students are not submitting SATs, and they're getting into colleges. Good colleges, all colleges. They're not being, held back from anyone, any college. If they have the academics and all the other pieces of the puzzle that we talked about, they're getting in without the SAT. So it's our mindset here that's still kind of stuck on that it's an important piece. And MIT, yes. Maybe Caltech, I'm not 100% sure. We don't have a lot of students who apply there, so I'm not sure. But many California schools are no longer accepting SATs at all. The university system, none of those schools they don't even want them. You couldn't send it if you wanted to. So it's becoming more and more the norm that either they're optional or they don't want them. So that's why not so much, brain power to put on that. Use your energies in these other areas, and just do the prep. You'll be perfectly aligned with what you need to do. So remember that you have to demonstrate commitment. It's not just having a laundry list of activities, but that you can demonstrate you're committed to it. A lot of our kids work with Ms. Frigno and Tech Connects. It's a wonderful service to the school. It's a great opportunity to hone leadership skills and develop relationships with underclassmen and upperclassmen that are valuable. Because, in life, we are very social beings. So the more we interact with others, the more everyone benefits from that. So if you have an opportunity to be in leadership within any of your activities, don't shy away from it. A leader is not the boss. The leader is someone who builds up everyone around them to come together for some common goal. That's a leader. So, and that's what we are looking for you to do, not for you to be, telling everybody what to do, but that you, by your example, people are just drawn to you and they want to help whatever you're trying to accomplish. And you do it as a team. So it's a great skill, and it will be valuable any career that you go into to be able to do that. We're going to have our first in-person fair since pre-pandemic this April, and that's for the juniors. You'll have your turn the next year, but make sure that you attend. There are fairs out there in the world. The Javits Center always does a huge college fair. Anybody can go to it. The local libraries this year have put together, a college fair, kind of with local schools, but really a very nice undertaking, and they're offering that for anybody who wants to attend. So there's all kinds of opportunities. Make sure that you come to the planning session when you're invited with me, and we will talk about all these things and more. And anytime that there's information nights like this, it's really important. I mean, it is immortalized on YouTube, so you can always go back to it. And we will put a link on the classroom. But to be, part of this in real time, opportunity to ask questions, if you have any, it's really very valuable. So we do this for you. I don't see anybody. I'm just talking myself. So I'm hoping that you're here and benefiting from what's being said here. So scholarship, that's another piece. So I also do, I'm the scholarship coordinator, and we have a committee in the school, and we all work weekly to, keep it all going. So these are just some ways that you too can search for scholarships. I will put up things as they come to me and that I think are valuable. But College Board has opportunity scholarships. So if you go onto your College Board account, you can explore what scholarships they're offering. There is a scholarship site called goingmerry.com, and they, although recently they've kind of changed things, so I'm less happy with them. But they will match you. You'll create a profile, and they will match you to scholarships, and you'll get messages from them monthly or weekly, depending on when the scholarships are coming out. And they'll say, this is a good match for you, and give you the link. So why I'm not so enamored with them right now is that they're paired up with some data collection site. So now they're potentially, it might inundate you with college stuff that you don't want. So just be mindful. And if it starts to get too messy and you don't want to use them, then certainly there are many other places you can look. And we will post, what we can. RaiseMe.com is a very specific kind of a scholarship. It's called micro scholarships. So there's, at this point, over 330 schools that participate in RaiseMe.com. So the catch is, if you don't want to go to one of those 300 schools and indicate that you're interested in one of those 300 schools, then you're not going to have access to that money. You will still accrue it, and they will tell you, you've accrued however much money. And the way that you get money with RaiseMe.com is by putting in your grades from your report card. So we work on the semester basis. So at the ends of the first semester, starting in freshman year, you input your grades for each class. If you took an SAT, not an SAT, no SATs. If you took a Regents, you put that score in. If you took an AP exam, you put that score in, and they give you a certain amount of money for every, depending if you had an A or B or whatever the grades that you got, and you earn money for that. And then by the time you get to senior year, you could have accrued, $30,000 or $40,000 just based on what you're doing to be a student in our school. again, it has to be that one of those 300 and some odd schools are of interest to you, and that you, otherwise, again, the money is there, but it's not going to be accessible. There are thousands of scholarships, thousands. If your parent or guardian is part of a union, every union offers scholarships to their members' children. So ask them to look into it, see what's available. You'll see that there will be some times when there's so many emails coming from me, and I send them to the parents and the students, that, it can be overwhelming, but there's just so many that I try to make it, the ones that are most, have the biggest return, because, you have to do some work for all these scholarships. So if it's, for $100 or $200, maybe people don't want to do it. But if it's for $1,000, a couple thousand, $20,000, full ride, those are things that people are inclined to want to do. So try our best to keep them flowing. And I know they're posted. Miss Cavalier puts them on library website, and they're on the school website. CDC takes some of the information, puts it on their site. So it's everywhere. So really no reason not to find what you're looking for. Do we have another slide? I don't even know where we are. I think there might be one more slide. Oh, okay. I'm running out of time. Story of my life. So senior year is also super busy. And again, if you have done your planning in junior year, based on what you started in sophomore year, you'll be in good shape for senior year. But if you procrastinate and wait until, the summer before senior year, or worse yet, September of senior year, you're going to be overwhelmed because there's so much going on. If you're applying early, those deadlines come up quick. We're probably back in September, that first week, the 7th or so, maybe the 8th. Before you know it, it's October 15th for Georgetown and a few other schools. And then November 1st comes around for, all the early actions, early decisions. And you're in class. So you have all this stuff going on. So you want as much done ahead of time as possible. And if you take any of the tips that you're going to hear over the next couple of years to heart, you'll be in good shape, because you will have done the work to really get yourself in good shape with that college list, and you have some kind of plan. And always to remember that it's not just about the dream, because wanting to go to a school is not the criteria. You have to be qualified for that school. So you're putting in your dream school, of course, because we never leave them out, but then your safety and your target schools as well. So you have a place to land. No matter what goes on, you're all going to college. It's a matter of where you're going. So make sure you have a good list for yourself. And all these things. I feel like we're going to talk about them so much more. I don't want to, I'm running out of time anyway. But this, the one thing I will say is that the Ivy Leagues have now started this restrictive early action, just to make things more interesting, which says you don't have to come to our school if we accept you. However, we want you to agree to not apply early decision to any other school. So they're restricting you, but they're not binding you. So the thing with the early decision is it is a binding legal contract. I sign it, you sign it, your parent guardian signs it, and we all agree that you understand the parameters and you're willing to go if accepted. So that's that. Restrictive early action is not binding, but they want you to agree not to apply binding anywhere else. So that's really the only new new thing to this whole early process. And we'll be doing, financial aid information stuff as it gets into senior year, because it's ever changing. They're working on now trying to simplify it. They thought it would be ready for October. Doesn't look good, but maybe. If not this year, then next. So lots more information to come. Okay, so we can go to the last slide, and I think we're at the hour. So we're gonna just go through it, because this is now just repetitive. This is all what I've just said already, and I'm trying to respect your time. So we'll go on to the final slide. Please reach out for help. The college office is open door policy. So don't think that you can't come in and ask a question. You absolutely can. And if I'm not available, then, the secretary or the school aide will help you out if it's something that they can help you with, or they will tell you when I will be available to come back and chat. All right. So do all the things that I said earlier to do them. And, just keep learning and doing and growing and being your best selves. And it's all good. You're going to be successful, and it's going to be a wonderful journey. So thank you so much for listening to me for this hour. And I look forward to getting to know you all better as we get closer to your time. And you're going to be doing your process for applying to college. Thank you.